ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي فالحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ثم ما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Today I'd like to share with you some things that will help you get to know Surah Al-Baqarah. There are a few very beautiful narrations that I want to go through. These are found in Bukhari and Muslim. The first one's from Muslim. عن زيد أنه سمع أبا السلام يقول حدثني أبو أمامة الباهلي قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول اقرأوا القرآن. So the long chain of narrators, those are the names of the people that I mentioned. And then the Prophet ﷺ says, recite the Quran. فَإِنَّهُ يَأْتِي يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ شَفِيعًا لِأَصْحَابِهِ. Because it will come on the day of resurrection as a maker of case, meaning it'll come on your behalf, it's pleading on your behalf for its companion, meaning the one who recited it became its companion. It's almost as though the Quran is personified on Judgment Day, and we'll see that theme continue. اقرأوا الزهراوين Al-Baqarah wa Surah Al-Imran. Recite the beautiful glowing Zahrawain, meaning the two beautiful glowing ones, the glittering ones, which are Baqarah and Al-Imran. فَإِنَّهُمَا تَأْتِيَانِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كَأَنَّهُمَا غَمَامَتَانِ. Because both of them will arrive on Judgment Day as they're both, happy clouds or puffy clouds. On the Day of Judgment, there's this intense exposure and humanity standing before Allah. And Allah Azza wa Jal and the idea of ghamam, if you study Surah Al-Baqarah itself, Allah will describe that the Israelites were out in the desert and they were going to die in the scorching sun. And Allah sent ghamam, clouds that gave them shade. So there's scary clouds, but these are not scary clouds. These are actually, you can say, white, puffy, happy clouds. And they take that kind of image and they come and hover over the people that used to recite them. This is important also because in another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, we learn that on the Day of Judgment, there is no shade except for a small group of people. In other words, people are going to be seeking shade on Judgment Day when the entire sky is torn open. فَإِذَا انشَقَّتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ وَرْدَةً كَالدِّهَانِ يُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمْ أَشْوَاظٌ مِّن نَارٍ in Surah Ar-Rahman. The sky will be ripped open. There's going to be meteors falling onto the earth. People are going to be looking for a place to find refuge. And here you have people of Baqarah and Al-Imran, and two clouds are hovering over them, providing them security. Subhanallah. أو كأنهما غيايتان. Or it is as though that they are غيايتان. غيايتان وهي بالياءين ما يكون أدون منهما في الكثافة وأقرب إلى رأس صاحبهما كما يفعل بالملوك فيحصل عنده الظل والضوء جميعا. Subhanallah, it's so amazing. Clouds are way up there. The Prophet ﷺ said there could be clouds up there, but depending on your closeness with these surahs, those clouds descend down upon you and they're literally right above you. They're just protecting you right above you. Subhanallah. They come really close to you. And the image that some of the ulama, this is commentary from scholars on the hadith, is that, how kings, when they're in the shade or in the sun, when they travel in the sun, and there's a servant kind of putting a thing over them so they get shade all the time. They're not completely in the dark, they can see what's going on, but they're also being provided a kind of shade. That's how the surah comes to serve the one who accompanied it. أَوْ كَأَنَّهُمَا فِرْقَانِ مِنْ طَيْرٍ صَوَّافٍ. Or it's like two massive flocks of birds that keep hovering around you. Like they're the ones protecting you from anything coming. تُحَاجَّانِ عَنْ أَصْحَابِهِمَا, that are going to make a case on behalf of the people who accompanied them. Subhanallah. These birds are there to protect us. And hujjah in Arabic is to make a case against someone or to make a conclusive case in favor of someone. In other words, these surahs will make a case for us on Judgment Day like nobody else, and we're saved because of these surahs. اقرأوا Surah Al-Baqarah. Then the Prophet said, and after highlighting both of them, then he specifically focused on Baqarah. This is the Prophet's words, ﷺ. Recite Surah Al-Baqarah. فَإِنَّ أَخْذَهَا بَرَكَةٌ. Because holding on to it is blessing on top of blessing on top of blessing. Barakah means goodness that will continue to grow more than expected. Barakah also means goodness that is there to stay. Its effects are going to be residual across your life and they will only multiply. أَخْذَهَا بَرَكَةٌ وَتَرْكَهَا حَسْرَةٌ. And leaving it alone, abandoning the surah, is regret. You're going to regret missing out on the goodness that would have come into your life if you didn't have a relationship with Baqarah. وَلَا تَسْتَطِيعُهَا الْبَطَلَ. And the liars And people that falsify are never going to have any say over it. They're not going to be capable of doing any damage to it or the one who holds on to it. The idea, al-batala, like Muawiyah says, that batala here means sorcerers. People that are jealous, they put an evil eye on somebody, or they try to, all kinds of crazy stuff they try to do to somebody, hurt somebody. None of this will have an effect on you if you are holding on to the Surah Al-Baqarah. Batala also means people that try to make you doubt your faith, people that try to falsify about you, people that spread lies about you, people that try to hurt your reputation. They try to harm you in any way. Baqarah will protect you. You hold on to this Quran and it will be your shield against all of them, especially Surah Al-Baqarah. عن جبير بن نفير رضي الله تعالى عنه قال سمعت النواس بن سمعان الكلابي يقول سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. Now another narration, this is also found in Sahih Muslim. We're going to learn something new about this image now. يؤتى بالقرآن يوم القيامة وأهله الذين كانوا يعملون به تقدمه سورة البقرة وآل عمران. On the day of judgment, the Quran will be brought forward. And along, on the day of judgment, along with its people, those who used to act on it. And Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Ali Imran will be leading the front, meaning Quran itself is arriving, and in the front of that caravan of the Quran is the two surahs, Baqarah and Ali Imran. وَضَرَبَ لَهُمَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم ثَلَاثَةَ أَمْثَالٍ مَا نَسِيتُهُنَّ بَعْدٍ. And the Sahabi says that the Prophet gave 3 examples to help me appreciate what it's going to look like on Judgment Day, to describe these surahs coming. I could never forget them. كَأَنَّهُمَا غَمَامَتان. It's as though they are 2 clouds. We read this already. We heard this already. أَوْ ظُلَّتَانِ سَوْدَوَانِ بَيْنَهُمَا شَرْقٌ. Or dark shadows, dark shades, between which there is light coming through. Dark clouds themselves are scary, but when dark clouds are accompanied with light, you have both effects. If too much exposure to light will burn you, so you need the shadows to cover you. But if all you get is shadow, then darkness itself is scary. It's the best of both worlds. That between these two, you're going to be given protection, but not so much that you get overwhelmed by it. Light will come through as well. أو كأنهما حزقان من طير صواف تحاجان عن صاحبهما. Once again, it's like flocks of birds coming and hovering around, protecting the one and making a case in favor of the one who used to accompany them. May Allah make us from them. Then Abu Hurairah's narration رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تجعلوا بيوتكم مقابر. He said, don't make your homes into graves. The Prophet said, don't turn your homes into graves. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنْفِرُ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ الَّذِي تُقْرَأُ فِيهِ سُورَةُ الْبَقَرَةِ. No doubt about it, Shaitan runs from the house in which Baqarah is being recited. So our homes, to save our homes from the effect of Shaitan, recite Surah Al-Baqarah. And of course, how would you turn a home into a grave? When the hearts are dead. Allah is not talking about zombies. He's not talking about people that are the living dead or something, or people die. No, He's talking about spiritually. Don't let your home spiritually die with the absence of Surah Al-Baqarah. What is in this surah that's so epic that you have narration after narration after narration? And this is the most profound one. I was just blown away by this one. This is in Bukhari. عن أسيد بن حضير قال بينما هو يقرأ من الليل سورة البقرة. One night he's reciting Surah Al-Baqarah, this Sahabi, Usaid. وَفَرَسُهُ مَرْبُوطًا عِنْدَهُ. And he's got a horse stable, and his horses are all, they're tied up right in his company. إِذْ جَالَتِ الْفَرَسُ فَسَكَتَ فَسَكَتَتْ. All of a sudden, his horses started acting up when he was reciting. So he got quiet, and the horses calmed down. فَقَرَأَ. So he recited recited Baqarah again. فَجَالَتِ الْفَرَسُ. The horses started acting up again. فَسَكَتَ وَسَكَتَتِ الْفَرَسُ. And so he stopped reciting and the horses calmed down again. He's like, why do I recite Baqarah and these horses go nuts? ثُمَّ قَرَأَ. Then he recited فَجَالَتِ الْفَرَسُ فَانْصَرَفَ. So then the horses started acting up again, and so he left, he moved back. But then he realized وَكَانَ إِبْنُهُ يَحْيَى قَرِيبًا مِنْهَا. His little boy Yahya, this Sahabi has a little boy Yahya, he's at the stable right by the horses, and the horses are acting up, and he's afraid that they're going to trample him because they're acting up. فَأَشْفَقَ أَن تُصِيبَهُ. So he got really scared that they'll strike him. فَلَمَّا اشْتَرَّهُ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. So when he pulled his son out, he lifted his head to the sky, and he noticed something in the sky. حَتَّى مَا يَرَاهَا. And he went away until he couldn't see it anymore. So there's 2 weird things happening. One, the horses are acting funny. He's pulled his kid away. He's looking up and he sees something, and he goes far away until he can't see it anymore. So now he comes. فَلَمَّا أَصْبَحَ. Then the next morning came. حَدَّثَ النَّبِي صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم فَقَالَ. So he came to talk to the Prophet ﷺ, but the Prophet ﷺ preempted what he was going to say. He said, اقرأ يا ابن حضير, اقرأ يا ابن حضير. Ibn Hudayr, recite. Like the Prophet's telling him, why'd you stop reciting? Like the Prophet already knows, alayhi salatu wasalam, that he's going to tell me about some recitation problem that happened the night before. The Prophet preempts him and says, keep on reciting. So he says, قال فأشفقت يا رسول الله أن تطأ يحيى. I was really scared that they're going to trample over my son Yahya. وكان منها قريبا, and he was really close to them. فرفعت رأسي فانصرفت إليه. So I raised my head and I just ran over to him and grabbed him. فرفعت رأسي إلى السماء. As I was pulling him away from the horses, I looked up to the sky. Now check this out. فإذا مثل الظلة فيها أمثال المصابيح. So I see the likes of what looks like shadows, but they're lamps inside the shadows. I can't describe it. It's kind of weird. They're like shades, but they're like lamps at the same time, descending. فخرجت. So they started leaving, حتى لا أراها, until I couldn't see them anymore. And the Prophet ﷺ says, وَتَدْرِي مَا ذَاك? Do you know what that was? قال لا. He said, no, I don't know. He says, تِلْكَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ دَنَتْ لِصَوْتِكَ. Those were angels that came down because of the beauty of your voice. You were reciting Baqarah and it attracted all kinds of angels, and they started coming down, and the horses would see the angels coming down, and the horses started freaking out because they couldn't handle the sight of angels. And you looked up and you saw these little beacons of light. Those were actually angels. وَلَوْ قَرَأْتَ لَأَصْبَحْتَ يَنْظُرُ النَّاسِ إِلَيْهَا. And if you had kept on reciting, the angels would have been so attracted that they would have become visible. They left the world of the unseen to join the world of the seen just to enjoy your recitation of Baqarah. That's how much it attracts the angels of Allah. And he says they would have come down so that people could see them. لا تتوارى منهم. There would be no barrier left. People would have been able to see the angels because of your recitation. Subhanallah.